there's some DOT stuff too, wasn't there, that they had to follow or not? I can't remember.
They use DOT specs, but I don't think it's anything
Special, right?
anything
Right.
special.
Yeah, it is ductile here, so.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Interesting. Thanks, Clint.
Thank you, Clint. All right, this being the time and place for the public hearing on the matter of the Humboldt Municipal Airport Slurry Seal Surface Treatment Improvement Project, we'll resume the public hearing at,
Oh, no, you're just gonna open it,
that's
sorry,
what I
that's
thought.
technical.
I was trying to figure out when I was last time, but I thought I better
No,
read it
you're gonna
correctly.
open it.
All right. I will open the public hearing at 5:50 PM. Review of the proposed plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost.
So, Bill, do you wanna, I guess, go over the nuts and bolts?
You bet. Bill Cravey with Flat Saddle Hardware Associates. This project is one we received a grant for from the DOT latter part of last year. And they will pay 85% of all the costs associated with the project. The project involved sealing, filling the cracks that are on the runway. Smaller ones will be just filled with emulsion. Larger ones with slurry materials and emulsion with aggregate mixed into it, so you get something solid to support the sides of that crack. And then if there's a bump or whatever, they'll level that with that same slurry material. And then we'll put a slurry coat over the entire surface of the runway. And then the last thing, of course, is to repaint the runway. We've estimated the construction cost. Find it here. Our estimate right now is $103,000 for that construction work. As I said, the DOT will pay 85% of that, so you'll have 15,000 plus, I guess, if you're sharing the construction. Any questions on it? We'll open bids on July 1st and then bring it to the council for award on at your July 7th meeting.
Something we do yet, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, obviously, we budgeted for this. Yep.
Something we'll do yet this summer then, I mean, it will be as soon as it's.
Yeah,
Bidding and stuff anyway.
Yeah, it's not something we need to wait for period of materials or anything. It'll kind of depend on the contractor's schedule, but preferred time to do it is when it's hot. August might be a good time to do it.
Just like a 2-3 day shutdown then, will it?
Yeah, yeah, the crack filling, crack sealing, probably a day or two. The actual slurry surface goes pretty fast. It might be a day or two. The pavement marking might be a day or two, so we're talking probably not a whole lot more than a week.
Okay. All right, any questions, anybody? Alrighty, do we have any written comments or objections on file?
No, we don't.
Do we have any comments or objections from the general public in attendance this evening? There being no more comments or objections on the matter of the Humboldt Municipal Airport's Slurry Seal Surface Treatment Improvement Project, I will close the public hearing at 5:54. I hate to say that to you.
Thanks. That's a fine
Sally,
question.
Sally, she said.
Yeah.
All right, the next public hearing, this being the time and place for the scheduled public hearing on the matter of the Humboldt Municipal Airport Conventional Hangar Building Improvement Project, I will open the public hearing at 5:55 PM. Bill, you're up again.
Yep. This is a FAA-funded project. The FAA projects are funded a little bit differently than the state. The state, you get a grant, you have a grant in hand, you've got a contract with the DOT for their share of the project costs. The FAA requires that you go all the way through a bid letting so that you have good solid numbers. You got bid prices on what the construction's gonna cost. And then we submit an application at that point in time based on bids, and then they will issue a grant for 90% of the project costs. You do have, the funds are there, the funds are available. Every airport has what's called entitlement funds that are set aside each year, and you've accumulated enough entitlement funds, you can save those up for up to 4 years. So you have enough entitlement funds in the bank, in the FAA bank, to cover their share of this project. So we're really not concerned about that. Project involves construction of a 60-foot wide by 70-foot deep conventional hangar, I call it. It's just a big open hangar. It'll be immediately east of the terminal building, and we'll connect the two with the breezeway so that you can get back and forth easily. Building will be insulated and heated. And our estimate on that project, we've got a couple alternates in the bid so that we can kind of decide on a couple things after we see some prices on it and so forth. But the base bid is base bid estimate is $428,000. And then we have an alternate for different types of heating systems. If we go with probably the more expensive in-floor heat, that'll be another $17,000 estimated. And then we have a second alternate on how to seal the floor, whether we use epoxy paint or, just a regular sealer. That could be as much as another $26,000. We gotta see what those costs are and then make sure that FAA is gonna participate in that. They don't always want to go along with the Cadillac, I guess, would be what I'd say. Once we have the numbers, then we got something to talk about, we can deal with that. So if you went with both alternates plus the base bid, we're up to $513,000. As I said, FAA share, that's 90% of the share stand. Bid schedule's the same as the other project.
Just one door, just one big door then for a hangar?
One big bifold door. It's pretty much the whole end of the hangar. It's almost 60 feet wide, so big door.
How many planes will that hold?
Depends a lot on the planes, but you can stack quite a few in there. I think smaller planes, you could probably get 5 in there. If you had a bigger twin, which I think there's hopes that that's what's going to be there, it'll be a few less than that.
And this is replacing the block building, correct?
Yes, for now, the block building is going to stay there.
Okay. There's enough room in between anyway?
Yeah, it's about 20 feet, I think, from the new hangar to the block building. Block building, we did mention the possibility of tearing that down to the FAA. And immediately, they said, well, you're gonna have to have an environmental study for that historic building.
Oh, God.
So we said, oh, never mind, we'll.
Yeah.
So it's gonna stay there for a while.
We still got stuff in there anyway.
Yeah,
So people are still renting that stuff.
Yes, I think there's some
Helicopters and stuff
concerns
for-
about the building structurally and so forth, but maybe continued to use for storing other things besides aircraft, I suppose.
Well, I got a comment.
Yes.
Talking to Dave earlier today, saying on the hangar out there, that I think the city's portion be on 25,000 on that there. But he said that revenue, that we'll have a double-breasted plane out there as well as probably 3 single engines out there. But that should be generated between $5,000 and $6,000. And I think we had a hangar rental and what have you. And anybody, doing some maintenance work, oil changes on the aircraft, and transient aircraft that may want to stay overnight, heated hangar. But they figured that our portion, if you will, would be wiped out in about 5 years.
Okay. Okay.
Didn't have much more comment on that. Somewhere en route to here, he couldn't be here. I asked him if he was 5,000 foot over Rifle, Colorado, and his engine quit. He said no.
That's it. Any comments from the council? Do we have any written comments or objections on file there?
No, we don't.
Do we have any comments or objections from the general public in attendance this evening? There being no more comments or objections on the matter of the Humboldt Municipal Airport Conventional Hangar Building Improvement Project, I will close the public hearing at 6 o'clock. On our new business, we need a motion to approve the renewal of a Class C beer permit and Sunday sales privilege for WMH Cooperative Oil Company doing business as Humboldt M Parade. Is that in order?
Yes, it is.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Next, we need a motion to approve the renewal of a Class C beer permit and Sunday sales privilege for Russell's Oil Company doing business as Russell's Crossroads.
Move.
Everything's in order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. This will be for the new building then, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once-
I know, well, that's what I was wondering too.
So, okay. Next, we need a motion to approve the fiscal year 2014-2015 cigarette permits.
Yep, there are, I think the list was in your packets, I think there are 9 or 10 of them. Everything's in order
Okay.
for all but one, and we'll send that through when I get the application back.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Next, we need a motion to approve a street closure request from the Humboldt Dakota City Chamber of Commerce for the 4th of July parade route.
The chamber, with input from the sheriff, has moved back to the old route. This route has problems, you know, like we mentioned last year, it ends, and the end of the parade hasn't really taken off yet, but, the other route had problems with the fact that, you know, everybody was trying to go pick up children, and the semis were having a hard time out there, and exiting onto Highway 3 was creating issues, so kind of a lesser of two evils. I think you're always gonna have traffic problems regardless. Everybody's familiar with this route.
So which road is it?
The old original route.
So the one.
Not what that one is.
Not the fairground route
Yeah.
anyway, so.
Okay,
It's
so
the one that comes
it's
by
not gonna be
Taft.
what it was last year.
No,
that
that was a
okay.
new route.
It'll come by Taft, and,
Okay.
you know, I think the biggest thing is just to, you know, try and work with the band and folks like that, to make the kids aware, don't cross in front of the parade if you absolutely have to, you know, be safe about it, because there's waves of folks that just kind of disregard where the parade's at. So, work with that, but, it seems like it was a better situation. That way, there's a little separation between the fireworks and the parade also, because that kind of causes some jam.
That did cause a problem.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Next, we need a motion to approve a street closure request from the Humboldt Fire Department for the July 3rd barrel fights.
The fire department's planning on having the barrel fights again this year. They'll be on Saturday, the same location as last year.
West side of Taft School.
Yeah, and so, it seemed like there was a lot of attendance last year, people were really excited about it, so, should be,
Do you have
great.
having the jumping stuff again this year, the air toys for you?
If you wanna volunteer for it.
Okay. Just didn't know if you were doing that.
No, I mean, it was great, there was a lot of kids out there, but,
Yep.
it was very hot.
It was fun watching it. I enjoyed it.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Next, we need a motion to approve a street closure request from Susan Blanchard for a neighborhood picnic on, Sunday, June 29th, from 4 o'clock to 8.
I think the only one who's really gonna be affected by this is probably you, maybe like 2 of your neighbors, so.
Yeah. They called
Otherwise-
the other day and wanted to know if I
Yeah.
would host a party, so.
Yeah.
We're having a party, would you mind hosting it? So I said,
So you-
Is it
you want-
citywide?
You wanna move to approve?
Is that
I better
considered-
abstain from this.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Nick?
Dan, were they planning to, Leroy asked about this morning, planning to block off the whole intersection, or just?
I can't believe they would, Gloria. I would just think from,
The end- the
Fourth
edge of it.
Street Southwest, or excuse me, Fourth Avenue Southwest to the
To the
east.
east, yeah.
I would think that, that would still be accessible to traffic there.
Yeah.
So. yeah.
Okay, I'll let him know for sure.
Okay.
Next, we need a motion to approve a 28E agreement for a mutual assistance for Humboldt County Fire Rescue Services and authorize myself to sign the aforementioned agreement.
This is a joint document that will serve as 128E for the, for all the departments in the county. Some of the smaller departments did not have mutual aid agreements, and some of the older agreements could not be located by other departments. It's kind of a mishmash collection, and so what they tried to do is get one document that covers everybody in the county. All the signatures are on one document, so everybody knows exactly what it is. Mutual aid honestly just protects the fire departments that are heading out and folks that are calling in, so that everybody understands they're responsible for themselves, so.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we need a motion to approve a contract for mosquito control with Mosquito Control of Iowa for the 2014 season and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract. I did actually hear him the other night buzzing around. He turned up on my street there and came around. So I'm assuming we've already got one in place for the contract.
So, yeah.
What was the bid?
It's kind of after the fact here. It's been kind of an
That's
interesting,
what the bid was.
It was 14,000 before.
it's it was a 3% increase. What did we pay? Do you remember what we paid last year?
Around 17, I think.
It was 17. They're kind of an interesting company to do business with. We've had some conversations back and forth, getting all the documents in place, and they called and said, we did the spraying, and I said, okay. And I said, do you have a contract in place? And so.
Yeah, we heard
Thank
him
you.
buzzing,
Yeah.
around, we shut all the windows up, I said, did we even sign a contract?
Yeah.
Thank you. Like to know.
I don't remember that, but.
7 times now.
So, first time free, I don't know. So anyway,
Just a trial run.
now we're getting the contract in
Move to
place.
approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And last, we need a motion to authorizing the mayor to sign a contract not to exceed $40,000 with a contractor to complete the necessary work to move the city water main away from the future site of the piers on the Sumner Avenue Bridge.
We already talked about this, but the water main's in the way of the pilings, for the new pier. Work will likely be much less than $40,000, probably closer to like 26 or somewhere